I don't know, this camera, this setup, it sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Hi, good morning. Happy Friendship Day. Today is November 24th. Some people celebrate Thanksgiving today. I will be celebrating Friendship Day. Just made a video about that. But anyway, we talked about that then, so we'll talk about this now. How about that? Um, no, as I was grocery shopping this morning, I had a kind of a weird experience. I as I was doing my stuff and I'm talking to myself, I talk to myself a lot, and I just started talking in my voice today again. And then uh Christmas song came on the radio, and I sang along in a higher pitched voice because that's the way the tone of the song was. And then another Jingle Bells, I think, came on, and it was Michael Bublé. Oh, be still my heart. And my voice shifted down into his range. And I sang along with Michael. And then I went back to this voice. And then um, as I was closing my car door and I turned, shut the door, the corner, like the edge, where the down meets the side, the corner of my door, it raked across my calf, my leg. And I said a few choice words then in my old voice, very deep voice. Okay, because it was like frustration, pain, and whatever. And I guess what I want to share with you is, and I made mention of this before, you know, I'm not going to give myself shit. I'm not going to make my life harder. Um, I'm just going to go with it. Just going to roll with it. Just going to roll with it. And, you know, if I if I happen to find somebody to spend the rest of my life with, should I be so fortunate? Um, they're gonna have to roll with it too. You know, um, I do occasionally DM Dungeons and Dragons, and I enjoy NPC voices and characterizations. A lot of improv, acting, drama. Um, and so my voice is probably going to be fluid. You know, And so, whatever I settle upon. So that's that. So I guess my thing is if by chance you happen to be watching the video, bless your heart, here's to you. Um, and you happen to maybe you want to be working on your voice or whatnot, please give yourself the freedom to experiment, figure out what you want to do. And even if you change and you go through, don't give yourself shit. Don't give yourself guilt. Okay? And it's hard, I know, because you were like, well, what are other people going to think? And, I don't know when in my life, I'm 50 and a half now. Um, but I just realized, fuck everybody else. Fuck everybody else. It doesn't matter what other people think. Fuck them. Seriously. If they're your friends, they'll be happy that you're in your life no matter how you express yourself. How you present yourself, those are your true friends. Those are your family. May not be your blood family, but those are the family that you can count on. Okay? So there's that. And the other thing I thought about today was much like climate change is happening. Um, I know here where I live, I came up here in 1999 to Kentucky, Kentuckiana, and it snowed a lot the first 5 or so years I was up here. And then every year it just there wasn't as much snow, there wasn't as much snow. And, now it's kind of once in a blue moon type. We don't have the snows. And obviously, weather is chaotic and does its own thing, right? Um, so, I tend to think of that as evidence in my lifetime of climate change, okay? But I'm going to talk about something else, and that's called social climate. Social climate change. Social climate. Um, when I was younger, in the 70s and then in the 80s, Thanksgiving was a day of, going over to my grandma's house and seeing my extended family and watching the parade, okay, in the morning. And, the afternoon was my uncles sitting in recliners doing, snoring, watching football, and my aunts and my grandma doing the dishes and, whatnot. And obviously, being the young trans girl that I was, I wanted to be in the kitchen, I wanted to be wearing the apron, you know, little girl's dreams, being a mommy or a caretaker. And I couldn't do that. Was not welcome in the kitchen. All the little kids weren't. Um, where was I going with this? And then, you know, by the time that I went to college, and then I came home, my grandma had passed away. She was kind of the axle around which my family rotated, you know. And so while my dad and maybe his sister tried to, we're going to do Thanksgiving at our house, it wasn't quite the same thing, but the social climate had kind of changed and society had kind of changed. Kids went away to college and moved away, you know, and because of my parents' divorce and whatnot, I lost half my family. You know, I've already talked about that. Things broke and things kind of changed. There's a bit of a paradigm shift. And my dad, when I went to college, they moved. They, sold, got threw all my stuff away, and it was like things changed. And then I was kind of happy when much later in life, when I got married and I met my wife. Obviously, met my wife, and then I got married because her family still had that nucleus. But the same thing happened. The mom died, the kids, you know, it was around that axle, and then the axle disappeared, and centrifugal, outward, pew 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 pew. And I guess this morning I kind of thought about how I was saddened that my daughter didn't get to experience going over to grandma's house and the turkey and the stuffing and everything else. And now I'm kind of like going, maybe she'll experience that in the future. And who knows, maybe once I'm a little more situated, that might be something I can do with my adopted family. I've been very blessed to make some friends. Um, you know, not necessarily transgender stuff, but people that I care about that much like I am, I'm out on my own, and it would be kind of nice to have a place where you could go and leave. I don't want to hole up somewhere all day long, but my hope is that maybe the next chapter is I will be able to provide an environment where people could kind of come and go, and maybe people who um, are a little outcasty, their family doesn't understand. It might be a safe place for them to, you know, recharge their batteries. And, as part of Friendship Day, make new friends and extend the hand of friendship, you know. So that might be the next kind of thing in my life. But the other thing, too, I mean, we can hope that, knock on wood, that, if I was so fortunate to meet someone else, a lifetime partner for the rest of my life, that we could have that, what used to be the old nucleus, my grandma's nucleus, and people would come over and come and go and whatnot. You know what I mean? I guess what I realized is, you know, we can take the things that we liked and build a future on that. You know, it's very unlikely. I mean, obviously, I can't give birth to children, but and I wouldn't necessarily want to give birth at this point in my life. I'm 50 years old, but we can take the things that we liked and maybe make new traditions. You know what I mean? But anyway, don't necessarily know if I have a point to my second point, but I thought it was kind of funny this morning at the grocery store. Yeah, it was definitely a Tootsie moment, where where he calls the cab. He's like taxi, taxi. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Um, and I guess that's it. So I'm gonna shut up and go watch the parade. And anyway, I hope you have a good rest of your day. And just surviving. Oh, I guess there's one more thing I was going to say too. Um, I'm lucky in that I'm 50 some odd years old, and both my parents are still alive. Um, but at the same time, um, my dad. I don't even know if my dad's still alive. Um, my dad cut me off, and after years and years of trying to be, you know what I mean? My hand is still open. I'm still ready. Um, but no return phone calls, no text messages, no letter. I've sent him letters, sent him cards. You know, he's not interested for whatever reason. And I don't wish him ill because of it. So for all intents and purposes, he's gone. And then my mom, like I kind of said about the divorce and my parents got divorced. My mom, that, and she was always been an outsider. You know, she's always been someone I've written a letter to or I've talked to on the phone. But when she retired, I mean, for the last 12 to 16 years, she's been out she's in Utah and she doesn't return my phone calls either. I mean, maybe 1 out of 10 phone calls, she'll call me back. So in a way, she's kind of like gone too. I realize she's still technically here, but she doesn't visit as she used to, and I don't go visit them. Um, it's almost like I feel like she's kind of set the stage to be out of my life, and so you know, I don't know where I'm going with this either. I don't know. It's something for me to do when I get older, and maybe Katie's out on her own. Is for me to remember that while I can, to be a part of my daughter's life, you know, because one day I won't be able to, you know what I mean? And I don't know, just trying to deal with some of that. I had someone at work today, their mom passed away, and a good friend of mine, her mom recently passed away. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, someday I'm going to get a phone call um, and kind of preparing myself for that a little bit. Um, my mom lives with my stepdad, and if he passes first, I mean, I want to be in a position I could take care of my mom if she'd let me, you know. Um, but much like my grandparents, you know, my mom, I have a memory up here of my mom that's 25 years old, you know. My mom is the cool lady who we'd go get chicken wings and a pitcher of beer and laugh and have a good time. And now my mom is very decrepit. She doesn't get around much. You know, when she comes to town, she just sits on the couch and we talk, and I love it. I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just saying I'm kind of, I guess I'm angry about life, you know, being transgender. The first 40 years of my life are meaningless, you know, to a degree. And because of my parents' divorce, I mean, it just didn't really have the normal child. No, not really trying to be boo-hooey, but um, you know, some people, like I said, on Thanksgiving, they have a lot to celebrate and be thankful for. And for me, I'm kind of like going, well, I'm happy I'm alive now, and I'm happy to be here, but I don't have 50 years of good memories. You know what I mean? So it's a little different experience, but there's always the future, right? So anyway, not trying to be melodramatic, but um, as always, it's comes down to make the best with what you have, I guess. All right, well, I'm going to shut up. Wish you the best of luck today, and we'll see you later. Hang in there, guys. Bye bye.